Hey guys! Alright, this video has gone through roughly about a dozen rewrites, so let's just hope that this script actually makes the cut this time. I apologize if I sound incredibly tired from this video. It's the amount of rewrites and the amount of changes the script has had is ridiculous a little bit, and this month has not really been what you would consider pleasant, so it's been difficult. This year has been quite a journey. It's had its hard moments, like, for example, canceling series, the effects of creator burnout, and just a general lack of ideas when it comes to making videos. And if I had to go a bit more, mentally speaking, this year has been the hardest year in my life, both in and out of off camera. There's been problems that have come after other problems, issues after more issues, and continued failures after others. In a way, it's kind of like how Smash Mouth once said, and they don't stop coming. Sadly, this year hasn't really just been hard both for my mental sake. If you were to look at YouTube analytics, this year would also tell you that this year was one of the worst performing years to date. And as you'll see a bit later on, this year's total views, new subscribers, and watch time hours are around 50% lower, if not even lower than that, than nearly every other year that's come before it. Regardless, let's try to get into the bread and butter of this update, and we'll get to that eventually. I'm going to start by just talking about why this year performed different or worse than other years, as well as a few issues that are already plaguing the inevitable 2022 that have already begun to get workarounds. I'm also just going to discuss, kind of a general understanding of what this channel is going to look like going into next year, and share some general goals for next year as well. So let's just get into it. As I said a moment ago, this year underperformed quite significantly. But I can't just say that without providing some reason. The first is creator burnout. Coming off the events of 2020, I used a lot of the big ideas that I had for many of the games I was playing. Minecraft is a good example where I used most of my ideas pretty much through that year to try to bring in new viewers, and it did work to a degree. Mod Year was starting to show its age at that point, with now 2 seasons and going on just shy of 2.5 years old, and I was starting to get bored of many of the games I was enjoying playing, and boredom began to set in. Come March of this year, in the Future of PandaPowerSauce update video, I simply scrapped nearly everything. Mod Year Season 3 disappeared, Discover and Create went away, I went away with scheduled Minecraft content by removing build tutorials, and stuff like that. I wanted to try a content shift. It was time to do something different. While the total amount of videos that were planned to go out this year may have changed, since again, this year was modeled off of things that were already set in stone in January, the videos themselves, at least since March, have continued to get better and better. Better editing techniques were included, and honestly, I think I've done more in terms of editing now than I was doing at the beginning of the year. And that's probably the one thing that this year has done right. It's that it's make every other video from previous years before it look lackluster and horrible, I would say, compared to what's been going out recently. School was also, I would say, a pretty big factor this year, at least mainly just the first semester of senior year, basically since August. Aside from that, however, the first half of this year I wouldn't say it was a big deal, but regardless, I've also been working my bum off, away from the camera. For those who might not know, back in March, I was due for a house inspection, and unfortunately we ended up getting COVID back in March. I know it might be hard to believe in the videos, but a lot of them were pre-recorded, at least I think they were. So instead, they decided to push that to September. However, fun story, it never happened in September, and now we don't have a lease, but it ended 3 months ago. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I've been a little on edge basically since March, because that's always looming in the background. To further emphasize my point from earlier as to why this channel is underperforming, I think the best way to show you is these graphs. These were made using a graph maker with the data used taken directly from YouTube Analytics, since that was more up-to-date than something like Social Blade, for example. These graphs are up-to-date based on whenever I'm editing this video, so most likely these will be made sometime around the week of Christmas. So again, anything that's gone out, we'll just say hypothetically, like by the 22nd of December, is not going to be counted. Anything after isn't getting counted, and everything before will. That kind of thing. These graphs are going to show total views gained per year, total subscribers gained per year, meaning new subs, and total watch time hours gained per year. I think let's start with the total views chart. And just looking at this chart, it's pretty clear to see that 2017 was at its peak and is the highest in this chart, with a record of just shy over 6,000 total views. Bear in mind that this isn't counting just all the videos that went out in that year, it's just counting all views across all videos on the channel for that 1 year. However, it did start to show a decline, as you can see here, heading into 2018 as well as 2019. It began to pick back up in 2020, but has since fallen off since, and that's making 2021 ranked 3rd as the 3rd worst viewed year on the channel. Next, let's look at total subscribers gained per year. Again, this does not relate to, say, ones that were just gained in the year in general based on the videos that went out, it's across the entire channel. Once again, 2017, to no surprise, is at the top with a massive 40 new subscribers. However, a pretty significant drop hits leading into 2018, and while 2020 did pick it back up a little bit, another massive drop would hit leading into 2021. Therefore, it actually makes this year the least subscriber gained year ever. Finally, we have watch time hours gained per year. Once again, 2017 was the biggest, pulling an incredible 280 watch hours. It's pretty impressive. However, ever since then, we've been on a steady decline, with 2021 actually being slightly lower than 2020 in totals and making it the least watch time hour year. So yeah, this year definitely underperformed. Again, there wasn't as many videos that went out this year, say, compared to last year, but at the end of the day, that shouldn't play a factor to a certain degree. Like, you can probably still get 200 watch hours with less videos at the end of the day, right? But with that being said, I think it's more appropriate to talk about next year now that we've explained how this year performed. Because there are things that have kind of already revealed themselves and things I'm already aware of that have already had actions taken to work around them. As a high school student, you gotta complete the ACT to even graduate. Now, yes, I have already done it once, but I'll just put it bluntly, a score of 19 on the ACT doesn't exactly cut it in my family. So it's gotta be higher, because of course it does. That particular test, the ACT retest for my senior year, takes place in early March of next year. I also have to take something that, to be honest, I never expected. I was never told about it until only about a month ago, and it was for a course that I completely hate. I was originally given the AP Computer Science course under the assumption that it might teach me how computers work, or how motherboards and processors relay information to each other, or say, for example, how graphics cards display video output, those kinds of things. But no, it's Java class, which I was told I would need, by my parents by the way, to do video and content production when I go into college or university. When everything in nearly every industry on the planet now is mostly written in C++. So now I'm using a course that I probably am not going to use in the future, and now I have to take an AP exam a few months after the ACT in early May, in which, let's be real, I probably won't be able to write written responses because, I mean, do you really think I'm going to remember how to write 100 lines of code perfectly? Also, you remember how I mentioned that I was a senior? I graduate high school next year. You know, colleges and universities are already sending me mail in, the mailbox to apply. Some have been from, say, Great Basin or the University of Phoenix or the University of Advancing Technology, just to name a few. And, a bit blunt, my education is single-handedly the biggest thing that is going to be difficult to deal with through the entirety of next year. Mainly, at least through that first half and probably the start of fall. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would say that too. I just gotta deal with it. So, now that probably the biggest thing next year's out of the way, I guess I can go into really explaining, well, that's the issues, but what is next year even going to look like? Well, to put it blunt, next year is going to operate exactly like this year. The same types of videos, the same types of series, and the same types of stuff. However, there are some things that I would like to touch on. There are two unknown candidates right now for next year, that being the Forza Veteran series and Minecraft. As I mentioned earlier, I've already kind of run out of Minecraft ideas to a certain degree, hence why I post a lot more minigame videos than I do challenge videos nowadays. So it's possible that Minecraft could help kick off 2022, but then in like February it might disappear for a while, and maybe come back a few months later, or disappear for the entire year, and then come back eventually. It's also because I don't really enjoy making Minecraft videos as much as I normally would. Sure, I play the game all the time, so it's not the same system that it was with Gary's Mod and Mod Gear, for example. I just don't really like making Minecraft as much anymore, and I think I just want to kind of take a break from it to a certain degree, but not, make too many videos, because I don't want to really be known for Minecraft as much. So again, Minecraft could help kick off next year, but it might quickly disappear shortly in. The winning Mario Party on the Hardest Board in AI series is already set to continue into next year, and most likely its confirmed end date is going to be sometime in the beginning of March, with Mario Party 9 set to be the very last episode of the series. Originally, this actually was supposed to be planned to end in April with Mario Party 10, but apparently through emulation software the game is just completely unstable, so other than that, we're going to have to end with Mario Party 9. Forza Veteran is, again, still undecided, as I'm not really sure if I want to continue the series or not. But most likely, if I was going to, it would go down an emulation route, but I don't really know any good PS3 or Xbox 360 emulators out there. So, give me some time, and I can see what I can do to, get some emulators, get some new episodes on the series going. But, again, that's something you might have to be notified over on Twitter for. Most likely, the game box is going to be the main series going into next year. It's going to run as it has been, just general emulated games like, for example, Super Mario Sunshine, Breath of the Wild, that kind of thing. New Game Pass releases like as of recent with Back 4 Blood and Halo Infinite, or just random games that I own. Consider, for example, I probably am going to do a Saints Row the 3rd episode soon. There is not planned to be any new series next year, at least nothing in the scale of like Mod Gear or the Universal 5 or other series like them. That's more because I just want to stay with what I have at the moment, because I fear that if I try to bring more in, it's just going to make things more difficult, and I don't want to try to have a repeat situation of like that first half of 2020 where I had like 3 series running at once and like 2 or 3 videos a week. Don't want to have that happen again. It's also set in stone that thumbnails are probably going to see some improvements. I, for whatever reason, couldn't get Adobe Photoshop, like I said probably in a previous update somewhere, because apparently a $21 monthly fee is, quote, too expensive. And I simply just stopped asking, because at this point I can just use free software, like GIMP, as an example. It'll take a bit to get used to using that kind of software, but here's to hoping that the payoff is great in the videos to come. Next, a new playlist is set to be made that's called Panda Starter Pack. It's basically a collection of 20 videos that is going to be the first thing that new subscribers should check out when they see the channel. It's mostly going to comprise videos from last year and this year, because I don't really want to include much of the past. I want to just kind of stay with what's been made within the last, let's just say, 3 years. Next, there is going to be an effort to make collabs happen. And I say hopefully. That is if I can actually have more quiet time and whenever I want to make them happen. A candidate might not be unknown if I can get them to happen, but trust me, I'm going to try to at least get a few collabs going, and that does not count KB, even though she might be family and she runs the Twitch channel, that kind of thing. That doesn't count. Clarification on the midgets, you may know them. They will not be returning for the foreseeable future, and I'm pretty sure I've said it once before, maybe more than once. However, I want to just permanently instate it right here. Now that most of my siblings just throw swear words out in pretty much every sentence they say, in my eyes, they are just not suitable for video content on the platform. And so until that can either calm down or stop, they will not be coming back. I don't know if that's going to entitle to KB or not, because I don't want to sit there and bleep it like 8 million times, but we'll see. Generally speaking, I think that is everything regarding next year, both problems and just, general stuff that's going to be happening. Now, however, let's get to some more, traditional end of the year things, So, I guess a new category for this year compared to what I did last year. What is my favorite and least favorite video of the year? Well, with so many good videos, and admittedly, some bad ones, I'm just gonna list the best examples of, say, 3 good videos and 3 bad ones, in no particular order. I'm gonna go and start with the bad ones first, and then we'll do the good ones last. The first bad video on my list is Minecraft Hardcore while getting every food item and being timed. And honestly, this was more just so I could see how a timer worked in, Sony Vegas, obviously. So it was very bland. I was super focused on whatever I was doing. I didn't really throw a lot of jokes, and it feels more like a video I would have made a year and a half ago rather than today. It's okay, but it's definitely something that I'm kind of regretting making. The second bad video is, surprisingly, the cringiest house in Hypixel housing. And as I said earlier, how I'm running out of Minecraft video ideas, this video was born from literally not having any ideas. And it's one that I'm always constantly forgetting that I actually made. It's interesting, I mean, I throw jokes, but there's just something about it that I don't like, and I'll figure it out eventually what it is, but, we'll figure it out. And finally, the third bad video is first time playing Call of Duty in years. And honestly, I really don't think I should have made this video, because it sticks out like a sore thumb when you compare all the other content that was going out around it at the time, and even now, really. It just feels off. The jokes that I was throwing weren't really that good. The video itself, its editing just kind of felt bland, and to be honest, I just kind of want to delete it, but I'm not going to. So let's get into the good ones now. The first good video is actually a recent one, beating Breath of the Wild for the 18th time. And honestly, I'd go as far as to say that this is probably one of the best videos I've ever made. Not only is it using the best parts of the game box, with lore time, funny jokes, and good, filming cuts, but it doesn't feel over the top. It's just the right amount of jokes and the right amount of spots, and it doesn't feel like it's over excessive with certain jokes. And also, when you factor in that it's a 34-minute video, the fact that it can hold that together while it's not going over the top all the time is pretty wild. The second good video I made this year was Forza Veteran plays Need for Speed for the first time. And I'll be honest, this too is probably also one of the best videos I've ever made too. It's much like the previous entry that I just talked about. The jokes are good, they're well thought out, and there isn't too many of them to make me feel like it's all forced or rushed or anything doesn't feel over excessive. This is definitely one of my favorites thus far, and honestly, I'm probably going to go rewatch it after this video goes out. And the final good video that I'm putting on this list is actually surprisingly old. It's Portal 2, except I'm drunk and becoming Markiplier. Honestly, this video was generally just a load of fun. I know me and KB, we were doing this at maybe 12 in the morning at some point, and I was super tired, and I think that's what kind of sold it, because I was basically feeling like I was drunk, and it was just great. It's probably one of the best commentated videos I've ever made, so that should be a shock. It's also a shock that it's actually as old as it is, since I didn't think it was made during the summer. I thought it was something either A little bit older, or maybe it was a bit more recent. To be honest, I might even consider trying to do this again sometime, either with a collab or maybe KB again if she actually wants to stop swearing, that'd be great. Well, that's that segment pretty much cleared, so do I have any goals for next year? And out of the goals that we set for 2021, let's just be real, we didn't get goal number 1, which was to reach 200 subscribers, since we only gained around 10 subs this year. I mean, when I'm recording this script, it was 8 subs, so I don't know if we've gained any more since then. Goal number 2, we actually did improve as a content creator. However, our attention on the platform that I was talking about in the previous end-of-year update from last year definitely has not increased. Our view counts have increased ever so slightly, so instead of averaging like 20 views, like let's say 25 to 30 views from last year, we're now up in like the low 30s and sometimes pushing into the 40s, so that's good. And the third goal that I had from last year's end of year update was that my video editing skills have improved, so that's a plus. So, since I want to stay optimistic, these are my 5 major goals that I have collectively for 2022. Goal number 1, to reach 130 subscribers. I'm setting this bar pretty low, admittedly, because I'm projecting that this channel's performance is not going to really increase into next year based on this year's performance. But again, this could all change, so let's not just give our hopes up just yet, but this is why I'm setting the bar this low, because of this year's performance. I want to continue to improve content, this being our second goal. And while I've already improved a pretty large amount from last year and the end of this year, I want to bring new skills and technology into what I'm doing. Whether that's, say, green screen footage, maybe entire new editing styles, or even new types of content entirely, like mod showcases or something, pretty much anything. Pretty much now more than ever, I want to branch out and try new things, whether that's, say for example, an entire new game franchise, or maybe try to go play a new game that's on Game Pass release, that kind of thing. As I mentioned earlier, the third goal is to try and collab with people. Again, that's hard due to the fact that I don't really have what's called quiet, but it is a mission that I am willing to try, so I'm going to try my best to get some collabs in, even if it's only one. The fourth goal is to do what I can to improve from the results of both 2020 and 2021. Whether that means, more views, or maybe more videos, more subs, anything. My goal for next year is to try to make it as better than the last 2 years. And the fifth goal is kind of an odd one, is that if the semiconductor shortage ends up slowing down and PC parts become more accessible, I'm probably going to upgrade my PC. I chose to steer away from PC upgrades for the holiday season, as well as my birthday from back in July, because, well, A, I don't really want to pay like $2,000 for like an RTX 2080, or like $300 for an overpriced like 3000 series Ryzen chip or something. And the parts I was looking for either, again, were just too expensive, or just completely out of stock anywhere in the country. So I'm just going to wait until prices lower and availability starts coming back into the rings. And in case you're wondering, I'm probably looking for some kind of high-end Ryzen, CPU of some description with good cores for rendering, and some kind of decent GPU, but I don't know what it's going to be yet. And that's pretty much about it. That's the update. This year has been a hard battle, believe me, not just for myself, but to the thousands and millions around the world who are dealing with the coronavirus. Yep, I said the word. So to all the people who have either lost loved ones or are suffering from this virus yourself, stay strong. You're out there. Humanity needs to learn to not be completely stupid and actually, do the right thing. But, stay strong out there, people. I know this year's been tough. I mean, it was, as I said in Halo, it was 2020 2nd edition. I hope that next year that things start to turn around, both for the channel and obviously for the globe as a whole. Maybe we can start growing a little more, and before you know it, well, we might actually go somewhere, potentially. With that, please be sure to stay updated on everything related to the channel, or just random crap posting over on my Twitter at PandaPS_YT. And since the discussion tab was removed this year, or in October, Twitter is basically all I got, because I don't really like using Instagram or anything like that. I want to preface now that I'm not going to be uploading for a little bit once this update goes out. For Christmas, instead of getting, PC hardware, I ended up getting a bunch of Switch games. And I don't actually know what I'm actually having for Christmas, since this is being recorded about a week in advance. But I'm probably going to take the entire winter holiday until I come back from school in early January to actually play most of them. So, I'll go ahead and just say it now, that the next video rolling out is probably going to be winning Mario Party 7 on the hardest board in AI, and that's going to go out on Friday, January 7th of next year. I'm probably going to be out for just shy over 2 weeks. It's like 13 days, basically, so I'll be out for about 2 weeks. Don't worry, I'll still be around. I'm reading comments, maybe posting on Twitter or something, maybe being like, yo, and doing something. And of course, I'll probably be prepping some of the first videos to roll out in January. Most likely, there probably isn't going to be an update in March, like how there normally has been for the last, not 2 years. Well, yeah. Well, 2 years, yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking 2019 was part of it, but no. But anyway, there probably won't be an update in March, because I just don't think it's going to be needed. So, most likely, there probably isn't going to be an update again until when the school year ends, which is going to probably be in June. So, just be wary that another video like this isn't going to happen for another 6 months, most likely, unless if, a crap ton of stuff happens in March and I feel the need for an update. But again, it's not planned. So, while 2020 may have greatly underperformed compared to the many other years that have come before, it was probably one of the best years for videos in general. Videos are now being edited way better than they were before. Honestly, I think they're more funny and enjoyable and entertaining than ever before. And to a certain degree, while we might have underperformed, I think we're performing better in just videos in general than before. Thank you all for sticking around for another, I would say, pretty insane year for the videos that we've pumped out. And if you enjoy what I do, make sure you subscribe. It helps me out a lot. With that, my name is PandaPowerSauce, wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'll see you in 2022. Later.